Hello, it is May 25th. Welcome to Lofty May Vlogs. My name is Tracy and I am the host of the Knitting on the Float podcast. And it's really quite quiet on the river today. We're just going into early afternoon right now. And I've been out a few times and all I'm seeing are the male mallard ducks, and earlier they were sunning themselves on the shared dock. Right now they're having a swim, but it is definitely a very, very quiet day on the river. There's lots of molting happening in front of me. I'll have to share the feathers that are swirling around in the water in front of me. Welcome to today's vlog. We are going to have a bit of crafty chat, and guess what? It is not going to be just about the secret knitting, which is fantastic. We're going to enjoy a cup of tea in a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at what little nature there is out today. And the other thing I've noticed is the trees don't seem to have many birds. And then, of course, one starts, because that's how it always goes. You have to be proven a liar. Anyway, let's turn this around. I'll show you the feathers in the water first, and then we'll take a look at the river. Well, river with animals. It is the beginning of the molting season, and the ducks are starting to lose their feathers. The male ducks, they lose their beautiful colors. And for a little bit in the summer, they look pretty awful, actually. So they've already done their courting. They don't need to look pretty anymore. So all of their feathers have come off, or starting to come off, and will end up flying around. And some of them will end up in the river like these ones. Let's take a look at the other side. And as I mentioned, it is fairly quiet. There are a few birds in the trees, not many. The wind is rustling through the trees though, which is nice. And the male mallards are having a nice time soaking in the water, bathing, and getting ready to fully molt. It's that time when we have a little seat and we enjoy a beverage together, have a little cheers, and share the crafting that I've been up to. And I hope whatever craft you have been working on, you've been enjoying it. And whether it is knitting, crochet, cross stitch, rug hooking, whatever craft it is you're doing, I hope you're loving it. So yesterday, it was really nice to diverge a little bit from the secret test knitting. So thankfully today I do have a little bit that I can share with you. And of course I will chat a little bit about my progress so far on the second pattern from the Handmade Sock Society Season 5. But before we get to the crafting, it is time to enjoy a nice beverage. And one thing I've been doing the past couple of days is pulling lots of information together. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. I've also got another personal thing that I'm sort of pulling together information for. And I have to tell you, I have had to access a few things that I have put away with you in the loft. So it's been so fantastic knowing exactly where to go and finding the information that I need, like lickety split. So that has been wonderful. So let us say cheers to organization and how quickly and efficiently it can make your life run when it's done properly. And Miss Tasha is agreeing with that. So cheers to organization. By the way, I'll talk about this in a minute. So organization, cheers, sip. And the mug that I am drinking out of is my lovely, it's very hard not to be distracted by cats walking across behind you. She could have gone any way around me, but no. She wanted to steal focus, and that's okay. Anyway, this is my lovely Emma Bridgewater cocoa mug, and this was gifted to me by a lovely crafty friend as a housewarming gift when we first moved to the float house. Miss Tasha is now chasing her tail. So I am branching out and enjoying beverages in some different mugs. You have seen this one on the podcast and probably on vlogs before, but it's always a fun one to pull out. And again, my name is on my mug, so no one else will drink out of it. Anyway, I am very, very glad that we're now at day 25 of May, so the past 25 days, I've been doing that organization, and especially over the past week, I have had to access 3 of the different areas. So I had that, remember the brown manila envelope that had my swimming awards in it? I had to get something out of that today, which I never thought I would have to get, and I did. And then I have a portfolio of mine that I needed to access. And then, of course, I had to get into the taxes. So it is making me feel like I am winning at this whole, not organization thing necessarily, but just I'm winning at life right now in that I can find things when I want them. So that is a good thing. Anyway, one more sip, and then let's get to not the boring organizational and paperwork stuff, but to the crafting, because that's always a lot more interesting. Tasha is enjoying a little scratch behind the ears, and she's licking my hand and just having a nice stretch out on the couch. So I did mention I have been working on my Handmade Sock Society test knit, and this is pattern 2, and we will show the yarn yet again. I made really good progress last night. I'm not finished sock 1, but I am nearing completion of the foot, and soon I'll be going into the toe. And then, and if you can tell, this lovely cake of yarn is getting smaller. This is the Wool Barn on Plush Sock. It is an 85% merino, 15% nylon base. And this is the colorway Mist, and it is gorgeous. And it is a week today that I will be able to finally pop these babies out of the bag and share them with you. So it's not too far off, but as I mentioned, I'm only still on sock 1. So I've got to power through, get all the paperwork done in the background, and get some knitting done in my crafting time. So it is slowly but surely getting there, and I know for next week it will be done. And oh, it's looking so beautiful. But yesterday it was lovely when Nathaniel had his ukulele class. I sat here, enjoyed my cup of tea while waiting to go up to the loft to work yesterday, and I worked on the project that is in my lovely mice celebration bag, and this is a bag by Jules Hill. Last night I had a lovely visit with Sharon, who is the Knitting Project. She put up a podcast yesterday, and she and I are both knitting this same project, or not the same project, the same pattern, because to knit the same project would be a little bit more complicated, especially since she's on the other side of the world and I'm over here. It'd be a lot faster maybe. She knits during her day, I knit during my day. We might get this finished quickly, but anyway. Sharon is knitting her own Chou Sui Shrug, and that is a pattern here by Susanna Summer, and it is a beautiful brioche and garter stitch shrug. I had a little bit of caffeine earlier. And I'm using some beautiful yarns. Anyway, so this pattern, I've had it in my library for quite some time, but it was a nice little nudge from Sharon that I thought, you know what, I'm gonna knit that at the same time. So we've got our own little mini knit along going, and you are welcome to join us if you would love to knit this pattern, because it is amazing. And if you've never done brioche before, so simple. And yesterday, while Nathaniel was doing his ukulele lesson, I did one more full repeat of the garter section. This is upside down, and I definitely have my lockers because losing brioche stitches is not my idea of a good time. But this is my progress so far. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. But in the setup video that Susanna Summer does for the Shu Sui Shrug, she says you can reverse it if you want. So I love the fact that I can do that. I started off with a lovely soft pink, and I was knitting it with this colorway Glacier, but it just wasn't popping. So I pulled it all out. And I am so glad I did, because this colorway, Thistle, which is a Viola Yarns, is really bringing me a lot of joy as I knit with this gorgeous Hedgerow Yarns. And both of these are singles. These are silky singles, and these are regular merino singles. And I love these little bits of periwinkle in there, and there's pink, and it is just knitting up so beautifully. And even though I only did one repeat, it was enough to really bring me some joy yesterday, and it makes me really happy that I can share something other than a mystery project with you. But slowly but surely it is coming along. Now, there is this fantastic counting checklist, and I did go through and I counted my stitches yesterday, but you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to check off that I now have 157 stitches on my needles. So it is really great. It just helps you keep track, and I now know I have done 2, 4, 6, 8 repeats of the brioche and garter shoulder shaping section, and I'm loving it. I think this is going to be such a wonderful garment. And as I mentioned, I watched Sharon's podcast last night. Hers is coming along beautifully. It's getting she's beyond shoulder shaping. So she did mention she is into really long rows, and I'm starting to get there, but right now it's definitely manageable and keeping my interest. So definitely nice to share my main color, my contrasting color, and then there's going to be a third color added in for an I-cord edging, and I have 2 yarns, and I believe I have enough of each. These are both hedgehog fibers, and these were in my Find Your Fade kit. This is called Pollen. This is called Harvest. I'm leaning towards this one because it's got all those fun little colors, and like, look at that, shots of purple in there. I think it would be a really nice, like it would really pull some of the colors that are already in the shawl, but this one might be just that more striking, solid tonal. I'm gonna play it by ear and keep both of these in my lovely project bag. I also forgot to mention that Sharon is also using a So Sweet Violet project bag for her project. She's using one of those lovely bear bags, and it's got velvet on the back. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. But this one's gorgeous too. And it's got a beautiful hand sequined butterfly. And who doesn't love a mice celebration or mouse celebration? And one thing I was noticing really a lot yesterday when I was knitting, my yarn matches my bag so well, and doesn't that make it everything? So good to spend some time with the Shu Sui, and of course spend some time with my sock. And yesterday was a very good crafting day. Okay, I'm going to have a few more sips of my tea, and pat myself on the back for my organizational skills. I've got a little bit of paperwork to do too, and then we're going to head up to the loft and figure out what we're going to do up there today, because you know what? I have no idea. I still have no idea. There's a lot to do still, and we are down to 6 more days to get that space. It's livable, but I want it more than livable. I want it amazing. Today's loft job is going to partially involve the corner of clutter. I'm going to take this basket back here, and it's got some fabric pieces, and we are going to get those a little bit neater. And then what we will do is we will amalgamate them with the fabric that is in the Sterilite bin from yesterday. And we are going to then do a little bit of switcheroo with some fiber and fabric. So let's go over to the linen closet and I'll show you what we're going to do. In these 2 bins, I have fiber. And my plan is to move the fabric that we were working with yesterday into these 2 Rubbermaid containers, so that what will happen is they will move into here, so it will be all fabric in here, and then the fiber will go into the freshly cleared out basket, the fabric basket that we are going to clear out. So little bit of straightening, shouldn't be too big of a job today, but it'll definitely make things a lot neater. We are not going to attack this shelf today. It's just a little too much for me to deal with right now, I think. Here are the things that we are going to be working with today. So we have these 2 small Rubbermaid bins of fiber. And what I'm planning to do is to empty those 2 and put the fiber into this fabric basket here. And once I have cleared out this fabric basket, which has beautiful little remnants of fabrics, I will then put these into there. And then the fabric that is here, these are the Rendale Designs fabrics, as well as some batting, that will then be transferred into the 2 small Rubbermaid bins. So a little bit of musical chairs happening here, or musical bins if you want to call it, and should be a fairly easy task, but I'm really actually not looking forward to this bin here. I know, I love these fabrics, but they're just so strangely cut that it won't be as bad as I think it's going to be, I know. I'm glad that I've got the floor nice and cleared, because we've been sitting on the floor for the past few days, and it's for the most part been a fairly clear and open space, which allows me to get the work done without tripping over things and all of that. So here we have lots of little bits of fabric. These are from when I made the Easter baskets. And then I have other little bits and pieces from when I was doing some mask making. And this is the dreaded pile that has a little bit of dog hair even in there. Anyway, that will be dealt with in a few minutes. But right now, my plan is to move. Now I have 2 of these. One, I should have another striped one, I think. Toaster's going downstairs. So I think I might have another striped one. I'm just not sure where it is. So I'm going to move the beautiful fibers that I have. This should probably go in with the hedgehog bin if I can fit it in there. But I have lots of beautiful fiber, lots of sweet Georgia, bright pinks, even a bit of yellow there. And then of course I've got some beautiful rainbow colors. It is entirely possible that if this fits into this, I need to empty out that other blue bin that has things in it, or I need to find the other fabric bin so that I can empty this one efficiently. So this little bit of pink, which is Primrose Tussah Silk, can go in this basket. Okay, that's one done. And then I am going to move the batting into the bin that I just cleared out. And you know what? I should be able to pop all of these beautiful Rendale designs. I have daisies. Now let's keep the speckles all together. So I've got gray speckles, blue speckles, pink speckles, and then we've been enjoying the birds this month. Some pink birds, bluebirds, pink background birds, and then I have lovely wildflowers and mushrooms, more speckles, pink and yellow, and then we have all those adorable Rendale designs, creatures in blue and also in pink, and more speckles. So I've got some greeny khaki, and then I've got some blue speckles here. So that makes me really happy that I can actually fit all of these very, very comfortably into this bin and should be able to find it. So it seems to be that these bins are holding a lot more fabric than I've anticipated the past couple of days. Okay, task and a half done. I've moved half of the fiber. I've moved all of this, which means this bin is completely free for something else. Maybe that half bin of yarn can go in here. I do need to try and see if I can fit this in the hedgehog container. But it's all of these. If this were money, wouldn't it be fun? It's fun that it's fabric too, but it'd be a lot more fun if it was money. Anyway, little bits like this, that fabulous, fabulous pieces, but not so fun to deal with. Anyway, I'm gonna fold those up, and I think I will put them at the top of the bin we worked with yesterday. And oh, this fiber is so beautiful. I got it at the Purple Pearl along with this blue one many, many years ago, and I really need to spin it up because it is gorgeous. Okay, stop getting distracted, Tracy. Stop getting distracted. Do the task you have to do that you don't want to do. definitely a lot more palatable than previously. I'm going to put this at the top of the bin that still had space yesterday. So no need to buy more fabric. I can just use the lovely little leftovers of these ones. And I do have a few little ends that I snipped off here that need to go in the garbage. And I still have this little bin of fiber to deal with. But otherwise it's been a quick task up here today. I have emptied this bin, which has a mesh bottom, and the things that had been in here were for projects that I want to do on the circular sock machine. So it had the waste yarn and it had a couple of skeins of yarn that I would like to use. So I've actually just popped them over by the circular sock machine behind you. But let us put the rest of the fiber that is in this plastic bin here into this fabric bin. And for now, I've put hedgehog there. It will need to go in the hedgehog bin, but now I have 2 baskets of fiber. Once I get this corner somewhat decluttered, it will become the place where the yarn bins are kept, but at least they'll be in a consistent space and easy to access. Plus, they should be a little bit better organized so that when I'm looking for something, I know exactly what I'm looking for. And if it's in a bin, I should be able to easily access it. That is the dream. Anyway, this is getting there. I'm just going to do a little bit more straightening, and then I'm going to call it a day up here. This is how I am going to leave things for May 25th. The bins with fiber just perched on there, and the corner of clutter still slightly cluttered. I think we're going to deal with that tomorrow though. But on a positive, other than a bit of dust, this is looking pretty good. I have done a tiny bit of readjusting in the linen closet. So at the bottom here, the 2 plastic Rubbermaid bins have been replaced, but they are no longer fiber, they are fabric. And I have moved one of the fabric bins that we worked with yesterday, and this is the one that has those overflow pieces as well. That is in the cupboard here. And I still need to deal with all those envelopes with patterns. But the other thing I did was I moved one of the bins out, and yesterday I had these extra lovely little patterns and little kits, things like that. I had them on top of here, but I've put them beside, and then I've got room to maybe take some of the overflow from this here. And look at this, we can even put the beads up there, and that looks like it is starting to lessen the load. So in another day, we will tackle that middle shelf, and this closet will look not only spectacular, but it will also be really easy to go in and find the things I need, because organization is the key. Some days I come up here and I think, oh, it's all pulling together. And then other days I come up and think, oh, I've still got so much left to do. And today's one of those days I'm kind of torn. When I looked at the calendar and realized it's the 25th of May, you really see the end of the month coming. You're less than a week away. And while yes, I can move around fairly freely, there are still times I don't think I'm going to make it and finish it off by the end of the month, especially some days I do those smaller tasks. But you know what? Keeping this space clean is going to be an ongoing struggle, and even if I'm not fully complete by May 31st, my deadline that I've given myself. It's still a lot better than when we started off, isn't it? But right now I'm feeling confident that we can pull pretty much most of this space together, if not all. It's that space over there. I still don't know what to do with the ironing board. Anyway, thank you for joining me today as I continue the loft cleanup. And it was so good to be able to share a different project with you today, in addition to the Handmade Sock Society that I've been working on. I am looking forward to sitting down with you tomorrow, and I think tomorrow we are going to try, and I think once these bins are moved out of here, it's going to make a huge difference. And yeah, they're going into the corner, but I think that's going to be their home until I use up the yarn. So I've got to get used to that, and I think that'll be okay. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow, and I am wishing you a wonderful day, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I hope that you have had a wonderful one. Bye. I think we need to have a chat about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in this case is that little white elephant that is over my shoulder. My old eMac. It is so old. It is wonderful though. It has my recipes on it and photographs, and it still sometimes works, which is great. It has this fantastic pirate game I love to play. I just cannot get rid of it. But at this point, I cannot figure out where I'm going to put it either. So I guess we all need an elephant in the room. For me, it is the white elephant, that gift that keeps on giving.